Imagine that finally someone appears in your life who truly loves you. Someone who doesn't play games, who doesn't hesitate. Someone who, from the very first day, is sure that they want you. You're supposed to feel happy. It's what anyone would want by their side. But you, on the other hand, are unfaithful. And you don't understand why. Well, this is what happened to Julie with Lucas on Temptation Island. One of the most interesting cases of infidelity we've had, and I think you're going to learn a lot from it. Today we're going to understand why some people destroy their best relationships. Why can a partner who truly loves you make you feel more anxious and afraid than one who treats you badly? And we're going to analyze self-sabotage in relationships. I'm Claudia Nicolasa, a psychologist and author of It's Manipulation and You Don't Know It. And on this channel, we analyze current topics from a psychological perspective with the goal of helping you understand yourself better, choose more wisely who you let into your life, and have healthier relationships. Subscribe if you find this interesting. Quick context. Julie and Lucas have only been together for 6 months, but those 6 months have been so intense that they feel like years. Why? Because Lucas is one of those people who, when he loves with everything. The very day they met, he got Julie's initial tattooed on himself. Yes, you heard that right, the very first day. And right away, he declared his intention to marry her. And when distance separated them, he decided to leave everything behind and move from Spain to Chile with her. This man was absolutely sure about everything. He wanted everything with her, and he wanted it right away. But what about Julie? What did she want? Well, Julie loves Lucas too, that's not in doubt. But she herself admits that she didn't feel the same emotional clarity. And this is where things get interesting. Because Julie arrives on the island and soon gives in to temptation. That's the official euphemism we use to say she's unfaithful. At night, she sleeps with someone else, and during the day, she cries, overwhelmed by guilt and confusion. And the most striking thing is that she doesn't know why. Why does she do it? She feels remorse, anxiety, discomfort. She doesn't just say, I did it because I felt like it. She concludes that if she's being unfaithful, it's because something is happening in her relationship. Although, spoiler alert, that infidelity probably comes more from herself than from a problem in the relationship. Because it's a myth that infidelity always means the relationship isn't going well. The relationship can work perfectly well, but if one of the partners isn't doing well, that can lead them to make the worst decision.
It's true, I'm very insecure. I didn't trust him or believe he loved me like he said. I honestly thought you'd fall for it.
I'll explain this properly later. Now let's go to the bonfire. Yuli enters the bonfire full of guilt, shame, and sadness. And as soon as she arrives, Lucas steps forward and opens his arms, trying to convey, I'm here for you. I welcome you. Let's face what has happened together. And Yuli breaks down there. On more than one occasion, she has confessed that she wished Lucas would also be unfaithful so she could feel better.
Why?
Do you say you can't
Look at Lucas?
because of what I did? I can't even look at him.
I swear to you. And pay attention because this is a very interesting key to understanding why maybe Yuli has been unfaithful. Listen carefully because this is super interesting. She describes herself as a person with a lot of insecurities.
Yes, it's true. I'm a very insecure person.
But she not only doubts her own worth, she also doubts the other person. She tells us that she carries a deep problem with trust.
I didn't believe he truly loved me as he claimed, so I expected him to fail.
There are many people who suffer from that inner core of distrust, from systematically feeling that others are going to let them down. They live with a permanent state of alertness and hypervigilance. Their nervous system is constantly scanning for signs of threat that confirm that fear. But what happens if your system doesn't find any sign of danger? Does it relax then? Well, not always. But also, sometimes it even collapses. Now you're going to understand.
I know I let you down. I feel a lot of guilt. I'm very insecure. I don't have self-love. There's something I need to discover. No one had ever done so much for me. You take care of me.
Yuli hasn't just met someone who isn't a threat. She's found a relationship where she's being treated better than ever before. And that challenges all her fears and her security systems.
I love you chubby, skinny. I love you with wrinkles. I love you without wrinkles. I love you tall. I love you short. I love you slow. Every possible way.
They are in a new relational scenario that their nervous system doesn't recognize. Wait.
But that you love yourself. And
here's the curious thing about human beings. The better Lucas treats Yuli, the more she cries. Because the kinder Lucas is, the worse she feels.
this is the last thing I wanted. But if this whole experience helps you realize that those insecurities can't keep dominating your life, even though it hurts me deeply.
I'm going to make it.
And even though it sounds absurd, it makes perfect sense. When a person has insecurities, low self-esteem, and even a negative self-image, having someone by your side who is good, who treats you well, can actually trigger even stronger feelings of not being enough, of inadequacy, of not deserving it. In other words, since I feel unworthy, if I have someone by my side who's truly wonderful, it awakens the feeling in me that I don't deserve this. A background of discomfort and guilt is triggered. I feel ashamed, like I'm doing something wrong. Because every time you look at your partner, you're reminded of how unworthy you feel.
What did you feel when you saw Lucas?
Pain in my chest because what I did to him hurts me a lot.
That's why there are people who unconsciously look to be with others who, well, are unsuitable, who have bad behaviors, who have serious problems, because in some way they feel that's what they deserve. Because they experience that kind of relationship as comfortable, natural, safe, familiar, that partner doesn't trigger their insecurities.
But before I love you, I want you to love yourself.
But there's more. A partner who treats you badly confirms your fears, your insecurities, your core beliefs. And when your fears are confirmed, in some way, your anxiety goes down. Because there's no more uncertainty, no more ambiguity, you don't have to wait anymore. It has already happened, and what has happened is something you already know. Your internal pattern says, I knew it, relationships hurt, the world is like this. And from there, paradoxically, you can live in peace. Because you've already learned to live there before. It's your comfortable and familiar place. But a partner who treats you well, that's a different story. Because a partner who treats you well disconfirms your patterns. It creates chaos in your mind, confusion. They tell you, hey, this thing you thought didn't exist, does exist. And that's where the emotional problem can start. Because part of you wants to believe it, wants to open up, wants to enjoy it, but another part is terrified. Terrified that this will fall apart, that at some point, all that seems so beautiful will turn out to be a lie. And that's the trap. It's better to live in hell thinking that heaven doesn't exist than to see that heaven exists, enter it, but feel like you don't deserve it and that at any moment you're going to fall from there. I'd rather not have it than have it and lose it. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well. A few months ago, I gave a workshop on self-awareness and relationship patterns where I explained this in depth because it's not easy to convey quickly like this. I'll leave it for you at the end of the video to check out. It's really interesting. Familiar things, even if painful, cause less anxiety than the unknown. And the unknown for Yuli might have been that someone would love her well and stay. And this can have a very specific consequence in her behavior, which is what we're going to look at now. Let's talk about why I think she did it.
Why did you let Oscar caress you?
I did what I felt in every moment, I don't know why.
Many times Yuli is asked, and she even asks herself, why have you been unfaithful? And most of the time the answer is, I don't know.
I don't know how the hell it happened that Oscar started caressing me, and I don't know what the hell happened to me. I didn't understand why I liked it, why I was letting him caress me. I just let myself go.
Here, it's important for us to understand that when someone says they don't know why they do what they do, it doesn't mean there isn't an explanation or a cause. It just means that the person probably doesn't have conscious access to the psychological root yet.
I don't think it happened the way she's telling it. No one is unfaithful over a caress or a game. Letting yourself get carried away wasn't the issue. I think the real problem was you, Yuli.
But yes, there is always a reason behind our actions. Especially when we're talking about something as deep and important as a relationship, as love. It's also important for us to understand that when the reason behind our behavior is painful, difficult, or unacceptable to us, our mind tends to push it away. Logical, rational, defensive explanations whose purpose is to divert attention from the real cause. In Yuli's case, she says several times, if I did it, it must be because I wasn't really in love.
Are you in love with me?
If what happened to me really happened, I don't think so. Otherwise, it couldn't be.
She believes that if you're truly in love, you wouldn't do that. So if she did, she must not be in love.
Are you in love with Lucas?
I don't think so, because if I were, what happened and what I did wouldn't have occurred.
But that's really not an explanation. But then it seems like Yuli is looking for another reason.
I think we were also arguing a lot. You know, we always stayed together because of love and everything, but many times we were about to break up.
When she realizes she's been unfaithful, she searches for flaws in their relationship to justify her actions, asking if maybe they argued a lot.
I don't think those were serious arguments. I think, no, they weren't serious.
Lucas, from a calm and understanding position, dismisses those explanations. They don't make sense to him.
I don't believe that you're not in love with me. 6 months felt like 10 years. When you look me in the eyes, I can see it.
He might be seeing what Yuli might not be able to see.
I think you're just trying to justify yourself with something untrue.
And here, I'd like to briefly point out Lucas's attitude. Yuli was expecting a reaction from her partner: anger, rage, spite, punishment, revenge. That's generally what we can expect from someone who's been betrayed. And honestly, it's understandable for that reaction to come up. It's something very painful. But interestingly, Lucas, instead of attacking her for it, tries to understand what led her to be unfaithful. That way, they can improve their relationship and themselves. He even worries about how Yuli might be experiencing her own infidelity. He understands that if his girlfriend did that, it's because something has been stirred up inside her.
I don't believe it because her eyes show guilt and show that she's not able to justify something she's done.
This is a very interesting sign of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. Of course, the betrayal and disappointment hurt him.
Seeing this really breaks me.
But he's able to see not only his own pain, but also that if his partner did this, it's because something is happening to her.
I'm not judging you, but I didn't expect you to say you weren't in love with me when I got here.
That is, she's able to transcend her own self and see the situation from above. And here we have a super revealing moment. First, I'm going to play it for you to see if you notice it.
Lately, we were not doing well. We fought a lot. We weren't 100% happy.
Indeed, Julie had a very interesting slip. She lets out an "I wasn't doing well," but quickly changes it to "we weren't doing well."
Lately, we were not doing well. We fought a lot. We weren't 100% happy.
Here we can clearly see how a problem that might have an individual origin, meaning a problem of hers, she is trying to interpret as a problem with the relationship with the couple as a whole. We argued, I wasn't in love, we weren't doing well. Even at some point during the show, she clung to the idea that all of this was happening because she had heard Lucas say that he didn't love her. We haven't been taught that infidelity can also be a symptom of a personal issue unrelated to your partner or relationship. In fact, in my academy, at Mindhunt Academy, where I teach psychology, I gave a class on the psychology of infidelity. In it, I analyzed several cases of infidelity, and we can see how many of them are due to a person's emotional problems. And they can have very diverse and unexpected causes that surprise the students. I'll leave the QR code here in case you want to learn more about the academy and study psychology with me. I highly recommend it because everything you learn is fascinating.
I was completely happy with you at all times.
Lucas says that he was fine, that he was sure about it. But then Julie reveals what I think is her real reason for cheating. Listen.
I felt like I wasn't making him happy. I felt like he needed someone who was whole.
She says she felt that Lucas wasn't happy because he needed someone by his side who was whole. In other words, even though Lucas showed how much he loved Julie, Julie carried that feeling of, I'm not enough for you. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. And I project my insecurity and discomfort onto the idea that our relationship isn't okay, that we aren't okay. And this happens to so many people. For some, it causes them to be unfaithful. For others, it leads to sabotaging the relationship in other ways. Like, for example, creating conflicts, disappearing, being inconsistent, becoming emotionally distant, avoiding intimacy. Why does this happen? Let's take a look. First, infidelity can act as a confirmation of a negative self-image. I don't deserve something this good. I'm not enough for someone like this. And by being unfaithful, I put myself back in the place where my internal beliefs think I belong. The unstable person who ruins things. The broken one, the one who isn't enough. The one who deserves to be abandoned, to be betrayed, to be mistreated. There's a somewhat dark and paradoxical relief in this. Julie has often said she wishes Lucas would be unfaithful too, so she wouldn't feel as guilty. That can tell us about the intense anguish she feels when she sees herself as someone who doesn't deserve the person by her side. But be careful, because this internal pattern isn't just trying to use infidelity to put Julie back in a more familiar place. It also tries to put Lucas back in that place that is more familiar. In other words, by expecting Lucas to react to her infidelity with anger, revenge, spite, or betrayal, she was probably also unconsciously trying to confirm that view of distrust. To confirm that the other person is actually not a space of love and emotional security. Deep down, Julie would expect Lucas to be unfaithful or to react badly because that's what would fit with her internal map map of relationships. With her expectation that people always end up hurting and disappointing you, but Lucas doesn't let her down, and that, interestingly, makes everything harder. Second, infidelity as a way to materialize an internal tension that can't be verbalized. When you have emotional problems, when you're not okay, and you don't understand why, it's common for your mind to look for reasons outside yourself that justify or give that tension a concrete outlet. Internal tension that you don't understand. To put it more simply, maybe Yuli, not finding rational reasons to feel dissatisfied in her relationship, didn't really have any reason to end that relationship. Her mind, when evaluating why she might feel bad in this relationship, couldn't find any reasons, and therefore there was no rational reason to break up. Although she didn't break up, she still couldn't resolve those feelings. So an easy way out, in quotes, is to take an action, a decisive move that pushes you to get out of there. A rational, material, and refutable explanation to justify that you have to get out of there. In this sense, it's very interesting to analyze the moment when Lucas confesses that he was willing to forgive Yuli, that he wanted to forgive her and fight for that relationship and make it better.
Would you forgive something like that?
I'm not sure. It's something I'd have to handle. I've spent my life fighting just like now.
He expected his girlfriend to feel sorry, ask for forgiveness, and want to fix the relationship.
I thought that you would come here and that you would be sorry.
It's just that I am for what I did to you.
Hurt you. I thought you would come here fighting for me, but I see that your feelings for me have changed.
But Yuli somehow has clung to her infidelity, to her mistake, like a child who won't let go of the note from home that lets them leave school early.
Maybe he expected me to tell him it was a mistake, but no.
She won't fix it or come back. She keeps saying if she's done that, she can't stay in the relationship.
Do you regret anything you've done with Oscar?
I regret hurting him, but I don't regret what happened to me.
Like the warrior who burned his ships so he couldn't go back home and had to fight harder and only move forward, but I don't know if it was.
I was in love, or else what happened wouldn't have occurred.
Third reason, infidelity as a passive way of making decisions.
You needed to go all the way because you didn't know how to tell Lucas that you weren't in love with him.
I thought I was, or wanted to believe it. Our story was so beautiful and intense.
To understand this, we need to discuss the start of the relationship.
It was going to be the first time I was going to be alone, and I didn't want to get into a relationship.
They told us that when Yuli met Lucas, she had recently gotten out of a pretty long relationship and was already getting to know another guy. She was aware that she needed to learn to be alone, that she had to work on a lot of things within herself. But of course, Lucas came into her life like a whirlwind and showed up ready to stay.
In the end, he showed up and left everything for me. He did so many sweet things that I just couldn't say no.
Yuli has been through breakups, insecurities, and emotional wounds that maybe still haven't healed. And then she meets someone like Lucas. She says it herself.
How could I let a man like that go? No, I just couldn't.
At this point, Yuli maybe couldn't say out loud or even admit to herself, Lucas, this is moving too fast and it scares me. I entered this relationship without being ready, and I don't know how to tell you or even admit it to myself. Why? Well, maybe because she's never felt so valued and so cared for. Because Lucas has given up everything for her. He left Spain for Chile because the emotional debt feels enormous, because he hasn't done anything wrong for her to doubt him or reject him, because she has insecurities and doubts herself. Probably also doubts what she feels and her own judgment. Maybe she got on a train that's very beautiful, very comfortable, where she feels really good. But that train is going very fast, and maybe when she sees the destination, she doesn't feel ready to get there.
I need to be alone and learn to love myself before I can love someone else.
In people with dependent, insecure, or confused tendencies, it's common for there to be a lack of initiative. That is, when it comes to making difficult decisions, they usually look for others to make them for them, or even let the circumstances themselves determine the course of their lives. In this way, committing infidelity and having that set the future of the relationship in motion can seem less threatening than being the one to go and make the decision to end the relationship. Even if you feel a lot of guilt and your self-image is greatly damaged, if you are unfaithful, it's already done, there's no turning back, it's broken. Whereas being upfront and ending a good relationship where you're treated well and there don't seem to be any reasons to want to leave, that can feel like a huge responsibility. And with a lot of fear of making a bad decision. In a way, it's like, I'm unfaithful so that the infidelity destroys everything. And it seems that Yuli got into that relationship knowing she wasn't ready. Not from a place of security and her own decision, but from inertia, from emotional debt, from a, how am I going to let go of this man who does so much for me? Does this sound familiar to you?
He came here today saying he's not in love, which I didn't expect. Honestly, you don't need to apologize for something, I feel. She's being very brave.
Many people stay in relationships out of gratitude, fear of hurting others, or not wanting to waste something good, even when they know deep down it doesn't quite fit. I've seen many social media comments claiming Yuli doesn't appreciate or deserve the man she has, and that she doesn't realize what she has. Well, you can be aware that the person you have by your side is valuable and a treasure, but that's not enough for you to want to have a relationship with that treasure. There are many valuable people in the world, but that doesn't mean you need to be in a relationship with all of them.
For me, love is above everything, and thanks to you, I learned what it really means to love.
And besides, even though what Lucas does is very sweet, getting someone's initial tattooed the same day you meet them, already declaring that you want to marry her, leaving your life, your country, your whole environment all of a sudden, for someone with whom there still isn't trust or a solid foundation.
You made me feel things that no one else ever made me feel in my life, and I want to thank you for that.
All of that does show us commitment, proactivity, a lot of interest, a lot of dedication, but maybe it also shows us an intensity and a speed that hasn't given Yuli time to choose freely. And of course, when someone gives everything in such an overwhelming way, sometimes you don't feel like you're the one choosing that person, but rather that you're just responding to everything they're doing for you. And that's a very fragile emotional foundation to sustain a serious relationship.
You tell me everything I needed to hear. I'm 100% in love with you, even though it hasn't been reciprocated.
Love needs a lot of time, a lot of space to grow. And when it's rushed from the outside, sometimes there's no clarity, but rather confusion, pressure,
Expectations. This is between two people. To love also means knowing how to let go and letting you be free, to be with whoever you want, not to be alone, to be the happiest person in the world.
My goal with this video isn't to justify infidelity or downplay its seriousness. I'm just trying to explain the reasons behind infidelity so that people can identify what's happening inside themselves before reaching that point and causing harm. I really loved this bonfire, and I also really liked Lucas's time on the island because he showed us that loving someone isn't just about considering your own feelings, but also those of the other person, even when they've let you down. He showed us that by understanding the reason for infidelity, not only can you forgive and repair the relationship, but you can even work on a better version of the relationship and also of the people in that couple. And he reminded us that we shouldn't settle for simple answers to our actions, but that as a couple we can dig much deeper. And with this analysis, I put an end to a great chapter in my career. This is the last video I will upload about Temptation Island. Soon I will publish a video explaining the reasons behind this decision, which I have been considering for quite some time. And I will also review everything we have experienced on this channel thanks to this show and these analyses. And of course, thanks to my community as well. It's a video that was hard for me to record, a decision that was quite difficult for me to make, but well, when you see it, I hope you'll understand. Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye.